It is exactly 11 o'clock. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program. This is the Mid Morning Talk Show with me, Julie Ali. Great to be with you once again. And as always, we have true family matters that we discuss on the show. Everything that you need to know about family matters is what we put out there in the public space. Let me give you a rundown of what we will be covering and then connect up with our first guest who is standing by to talk with us this morning. He is Seth Naicker. He is a Heartlines facilitator and also a leadership consultant. We'll get to him in a minute or two after I've told you what else is coming up on the show today. Dylan Mashele, Public Relations Communications Consultant at the National Council of um, and for persons with disabilities, is going to talk to us about fitness meets philanthropy. Dr. Ken Resnick, educational psychologist, will be talking to us about leveling up and being prepared for the matric exams. Abed Karim from the Al Imdad Foundation is going to talk about bringing vision to life with the cataract surgeries blitz. But first up, as I indicated, Seth Naicker, Heartlines facilitator and leadership consultant. And a very, very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for having me, and look forward to having this conversation with you. And greetings to all your listeners on Salam Media.
Now, I see that you are also a pastor, you're a facilitator at Heartlines, and you are a leadership consultant. We understand that you are very passionate about investing in communities, and you spent many, many years working to serve people around you. Talk to us about this passion that you have that drives you to try and uplift communities.
Well, I'm grateful for a good community. I come from the south side of Joburg, Julie, so I've had many leaders that have invested in my life, and so I grew up in a context where I was also encouraged to be a person of service, be a person of gratitude, and wanting to make positive impact. So I started out doing a lot of my work in the youth sector with organizations like Youth for Christ. I was grateful over the years to work with organizations like the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. And for the last 14 to 15 years of my life, I've been grateful for the opportunity to serve through Heartlines, the National Values Promotion Center, and more especially working on this amazing campaign called Fathers Matter, where we're looking to have the positive, active presence of men and fathers for the well-being of their children, their families, and our society.
Okay, so how does the absence of a father figure typically affect the emotional development of a child? Very, very particularly the boy child.
Yeah, well, the boy child, and that's important to reflect on the reality that many boy children are growing up in a context of either a single parent household, or culturally, a lot of the children that don't have their fathers with them would be growing up on the side of the family with their mums. I'm particularly focused on the boy child. This is not to say that the girl child is not asking the same set of questions. The question becomes asked at a certain time of their child's life: where is my father? Where is the person who's been part of my DNA system? And unfortunately, in South Africa, these are the stats, Julie. 70% of our children are not growing up with access to their biological fathers. Um, and we see this affecting young men and young women, but let me direct it at young men in their pursuit of understanding themselves as young men, in their pursuit of understanding who they are. And we also note that without positive, active presence of men, there is a reality that many children either become perpetrators or are victimized in violent ways concerning GBV, etc. So there's a whole ripple effect of negative impacts that are happening in society when men and fathers are not positively active and present in the lives of the children and their families.
Seth, we are not saying that households headed by moms would probably have children who will veer into a life of crime or will be dropouts or won't make anything of their lives. We do know that very many children that come out of single headed households do make wonderful career choices and make wonderful successes of their lives. So that's not what we're saying. We are focusing on, and we salute those mothers that do an absolutely sterling job in producing the most grounded, stable, valuable young men and women who make a great contribution to society. But what we are saying is that there is very definitely a negative impact in the majority of households where there isn't a father figure present.
Yes, I mean, you said it well, that that's not what we're saying. We're not in any way, this work that we're doing around the positive, active presence of fathers, Julie, is not meant in any way to devalue or uh, speak down at the roles of mums and families that are, having their children being raised up just on the mother's side of the family. However, as you correctly pointed out, we know that a lack of positive and active presence of men in the lives of children, from our research, we've seen that this adds to negative factors. And one of it being that there is pressure put on, the mums of the children, women folk who are having to raise their children on their own. When we talk from a cultural perspective in South Africa, sometimes when a child is born to a family without that family having gone through the customary rites. So, for example, if the child is born out of marriage, there are certain cultural practices that have to be upheld. For example, Ntlahulo, where it's a bad translation, and people would say, well, this is a damage fee. But in the contracting of family and pulling those families together, it may be required that the side of the father's side of the family would have to pay an amount of money. And when we look at our unemployment rates, we see that the reality is that many young adult folk cannot do this. So here we acknowledge the role of women. However, on our campaign, we're saying, can you imagine if more fathers are having the access, are having the awareness, and we're teaching our communities and our societies of the importance of a father more than just the provision factor of money. Yes, provision and protection is important, but actually the active positive presence of fathers and men in the lives of their children. And this, we believe, will help to curb the irregular pressures that are being placed on mothers in society, where they have to do a lot of this on their own, especially when we are seeing family structures and family spaces where men have been absent for years upon years.
Seth, I'd like to focus a little bit on the damage fees. I think you were trying to make a point there. Let's understand what type of an impact that would have on the mother and on the growing child. Would this be some sort of a constant reminder from the father side of the family on this child? And then would it be some form of a burden that he has to carry throughout life?
Well, firstly, it's something that we must consider. The reality is that the child will not be registered on the side of the father's name. So that's one factor that takes place. The father won't have just access to the child once the child is born. So what I mentioned was, we would say it like this in the language of understanding in Hlaulo, which is really just a dowry system almost of, now that you've had a child before being married, you've got to settle certain cultural requirements. But what we find happening is that these cultural settings and cultural kind of norms do keep a gate. It's a gatekeeping system that seems to keep the fathers away. And we've been having conversations in our workshops and so on to say, what do we do that makes it more accessible for the child within our South African context to have access to their fathers? Now, look, Julie, sometimes the reality is that fathers want access, but we also have cases when fathers are, and I'm sorry to say it like this, but they kind of seed donor fathers. They've donated a seed and off they go on, hide and go seek. You never find them again. And this is a reality as well, that we do have a lot of absent fathers. We see the impact of a society where if we're working with young people, year to year, you have a rate of teenage pregnancies that take place. Some of those are teenage pregnancies that we have to acknowledge may not be consensual teenage pregnancies. But in the case where it is, teenage pregnancies that have taken place with intimacy amongst young people, a lot of the time these young people or young adults are not able to really cater for their lives. And what our campaign is really talking about is if we have an attempt and an approach for fathers to understand their role, for communities to see men that are positive and actively present, we can start to curb some of the negative realities that are affecting our society. And like you asked earlier, I mean, young people are feeling the pressures of their identity. Who is this other side of me that I don't know? A family that I may have not met. I work with young people in youth academies and so on around retreats and leadership engagement. And the one question that they do have, if they've not had access to their biological father, Julie, is where is this person? Who is this person? And so what we are advocating for is that the role of parenting is, and caring, not just parenting as in providing, but caring and being present can be for both men and women. And this is where we are utilizing our community engagements and trainings to do parenting workshops, to deal with the topics of, for example, a father wound. We've got 6 series of films that deal with the topic of a positive, active father's presence and how this healthy presence of a father, not a dominating role. No, we're not promoting that. What we are promoting is the caring, concerned, present, and healing presence of a father and what that can mean for our society.
Very sadly, a lot of fathers are prevented access to their children if, for example, they're unemployed or they're in a low skilled job, they don't earn enough money, and they're unable to maintain that child as expected by the maternal side of the family. That creates a barrier for them to have access to their children. And in this situation, then both lose out on that connection, the child and the father. So this child will grow up with very rare visits by the father, and I should imagine has a huge impact on this growing child. Or either rare visits or no visits at all. That poor child is going to grow up being haunted by the fact that he never had a connection with his father. The reasons why there was no connection. Was he rejected? Was he not loved enough? So all of those issues does end up damaging this person, does it not? And I think we as a society need to work together to prevent those types of damaging self-talks on this growing child. I'm not lovable. I'm a reject. I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not worthy. All of that has a huge impact on this child's self-esteem and could truly damage their future prospects as young adults and grown-up adults. And also, sadly, it's that intergenerational trauma that they will then pass down. I'd love your response on this, but just give us a minute or two. Let's take an ad break, and I will allow you to respond to this huge statement of mine.
Thank you.
South African Qira'ah tour by world-renowned Qurra Sheikh Yasser Sharqawi of Egypt. and Qari Anwar Hassan of Malaysia. Taking place Friday the 24th of October between Maghrib to Isha Salah in Port Elizabeth. Number 10, Chase Street, Kruger, Eastern Cape. Ladies, facilities will be provided, so be there.
Yasin Badat Financial Advisory. Are your financial goals feeling out of reach? Yasin Badat Financial Advisory is here to turn your aspirations into achievements. Our dedicated team, armed with a history of success, is ready to guide you through the complex nature of financial and investment planning. Whether you're a seasoned investor or new to the game, our personalized solutions cater to your unique goals and risk appetite. Trust in our commitment to transparency, integrity, and excellence. Ready to unlock a world of financial freedom? Partner with us today. Call Yasin Badat Financial Advisory at +27 33 346 2071 or visit www.yasinbadat.com. Yasin Badat Financial Advisory, guiding you to financial success.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal South Africa's Breakfast Club aims to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend their day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner for only 5 Rand a day or 150 Rand a month. Or visit our website www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal South Africa. Small change, big difference.
Hey Gulam,
Yeah?
did I return your lawnmower last month?
No, bye, you didn't.
Oh no. Now what'll I do? I wanted to borrow it again, man.
With Randry Jewelers, you won't have to borrow or lend because the prices are so well trimmed on all gold and diamond jewelry. Alternatively, we could remake your old jewelry into a brilliant new design. Visit Randry Jewelers at 151 Stevens Lamini Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randry Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Welcome back. I'm talking with Pastor Seth Naicker. We are talking about, I guess, children being raised without a father figure. He is a Heartlines facilitator. He's also a leadership consultant. Welcome back, Pastor Seth Naicker. And I guess you're going to now respond to that statement that I had made just before the ad break. Please go ahead.
Julie, I must say that that statement was very, very profound and clear that you yourself are connected to your community and what young people are going through. And quite rightly stated, I think it's important that we look at this topic of men and fathers and looking at it from a healing way, that there are many men out there that are struggling with their own manhood and their sense of worth. And because we're in a society that has socialized men in a certain way, and this way seems to be patriarchal. It seems to be a way of male dominance. It seems to be a way where men are strong men only when they can provide and give money. And like you said, Julie, we need to redress that very, very quickly. We need to wake up to the reality that men out there themselves are struggling. When we do work around the space of gender-based violence, and I connect some of the work that I do at Heartlines with, a national focus, which will even come up not too long from now in 16 days of activism, I do a workshop called Fathers Matter to End Gender-Based Violence. And this is positioned around the space of men and fathers becoming allies and advocates. In a workshop like this, we would have women as well, reflecting on how they can actually start to coach their children or work with their partners or their husbands about the fact that, listen, we are in this world together, we are part of this family together. These children that we have, we are there, especially if they are married. So, on the other side of talking about absent fathers, we must acknowledge that some fathers are present, but are sometimes negatively present. Or if they're present physically and possibly present with provision and monetary value, but absent emotionally. And when through some of the research that Heartlines has done, a lot of children, youth, have mentioned, well, they when they think about fathers, they want their fathers to be providers and protectors. But more than that, they also were asking for the access point of being with their fathers, having a present connection. And it's almost like the children in this formative research that Heartlines went about, children were kind of articulating they're missing their dads. So there's something that we need to do as a society where we take the pressure off men to just be the strong men. These men that are, walking around as macho men. We need to, in a way, find a way to connect with men at the point of their own pain. And hopefully by doing so, we can assist our children that are in our society. We can see, I think one of the points you mentioned there is about the connection to, the lack of having a solid family network and the present or the lack of having a present active man or father also shows us a link towards future aspirations. We can start to see that if our family centering is more grounded and families are feeling more together, this again is not negating the role that many mothers are doing on their own and the maternal side of families. But we do need much more positive movement in light of getting men to understand that their role is important. And this kind of movement is not only speaking to men. It means that we have to speak to women as well. In some of our societies and our families, we know that our mothers are in charge. There may not be a father there historically, or a father figure was not present. But can you imagine that women become aware? Listen, I want to educate our sons in our family. I did a few workshops, Julie, with ECD principals, who are just another amazing industry of people in our society. Early childhood development principals. And one principal told me this, face-to-face encountering in a workshop. She said, these workshops that we've done has helped her personally. So I asked her, okay, dear principal, how is it so? And she said, Seth, I went home and I spoke to my 2 adult sons. I said, about what? She said, I told them that I want them to be involved and invested in the lives of their children. She said, both of my sons didn't get married, but they've had children. They're still working out the cultural realities of paying for the inhlaulo and so on. But she said, in the mix, I want to have a connection with these children of mine and them being positively active, present fathers. So in this way, by talking in our society with women and men and children and youth, we are hoping that Fathers Matter becomes a national movement across South Africa that helps our country seeing the healing of our children and seeing a better future for them.
So, Pastor Seth, do you suppose that when we talk about uplifting the boy child, and we talk about the absence of a father figure in children's lives, do you feel, with all of the work you've done and you're still involved in youth work, that girl children and boy children are differently affected by the absent father syndrome?
Julie, I won't go as far as to say differently affected. I think, a child is a child, and when they are missing their father. So, let me use, from practical experience. On some of these youth academies that we go away with schools, there are 6 boys and 6 girls. And every academy, without fail, Julie, there are about 6 to 7 of the young people that have what I would call bad daddy stories, or traumatic daddy stories, or absent daddy stories, or I don't know my father. I saw him once. I had a letter, or I had a telephone call. But a lot of the time, these children, whether they are male or female, they are asking the question about, who is this person that I that's a part of me, but I don't know. So, one of the points I think that will be helpful in the campaign is, where there is a reality of absent fathers, let's be grateful for the way we've had what we would call mentors and coaches. So in my own journey, I've had a great dad, Julie, for, I'm close on to my 5th decade of life, but for 45 years of my life, my father was in my life. But alongside my dad, there were coaches, there were spiritual workers, there were, community workers that fill those gaps. Now, can you imagine, for a child who doesn't have their father present? I think this is where we talk on our campaign about social fathers, and the fact that teachers and preachers or pastors, religious leaders, community leaders can help to come in and help close the gap. So the reality is that many children out there, whether they are boys or girls, are hurting. And we wanting our work to, firstly, bring awareness, start, causing some unlearning in the space of unhealthy patriarchy, or social norms around patriarchy and male dominance. We're wanting to see men and fathers to be active, positive, and present. And we've even added in, some toolkits. We've got 6 series of movies. There's a 7th one that was dedicated to early childhood development, and I've run 2 pilots here in Gauteng with early childhood development schools. There's an online WhatsApp chat, Julie, which is an amazing tool. It's kind of a chat GPT kind of technology, but it's called Fathers Matter Coach. And if people went online to our Heartlines national website, they could find access to that coach. And the coach is giving insights not only to men today. We have women that are signed up as well. It gives you parenting insights, coaching insights of how to become what we are calling a positive, active, present parent or father. And Julie, I'm hoping that in my heart and where we're at, to see a better future for our children and our youth in our country. There are many odds that are stacked up against us. We wanting to curb the odd of absent fathers and men who are not present in a positive way. So I think by doing this work, we are raising awareness. We're starting to see some amazing healing stories of fathers coming, if I can say, reconciliation stories, or maybe not so romantically stated, but having now the awareness that, listen, I need to get back involved in my child's life. I need to be an active, positive, present father. I can't be a father who's only giving money. Even though I'm present, I want to be positively present. So that takes a lot of emotional kind of rearing of oneself, self-care for oneself. And we're hoping that through these men and fathers that have access to the program and families that become aware, we see an increasing values-based move for healing of our country, a healing of our land, where we become aware of what does it mean for that we can do our work and live our lives for the well-being of our children and our families.
And of course, our future generations. And that, of course, is the ultimate goal, is it not, to have very healthy young adults leading this country forward. That's all we have time for. Wish I could be sitting here talking to you for hours on end.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hopefully we will connect up again. Your closing remarks on the show this morning, please, Pastor.
Yes, closing remarks, please, friends. Use the resources of Heartlines. It's a national resource, and I say this openly. While I am, a pastor, I have grown up in a community like Joburg South, in Lens South, where there's a lot of religious folk from different religious groups. And the Heartlines resources can be accessed by people from different walks of life. Maybe you want to do a movie viewing of one of the short films. You can literally watch that film in 22 minutes and have an amazing conversation. I'm grateful to do some work, Julie, with the Brahma Kumaris, who have allowed some of the content that we've developed with Heartlines and Faith Action to End Gender-Based Violence around talking to men within their own context. So just to say to people out there, there are resources. These are amazing South African-based resources. The 7 short films are available. The WhatsApp chat is available to you all. And really want to encourage folks, like if they'd like to get online with that WhatsApp chat, if I may provide the number, Julie,
Sure.
it's 060-058-2107. I'll say it again, 060-058-2107. You save it, and you can save it as Fathers Matter Coach and say hi. And in a matter of moments, you have this chat GPT kind of tool working with you and giving you insights and learnings and kind of quotes that help you journey on as a parent. For me, it's been a great resource, and I'm hopeful that we can see that Fathers Matter reaches the country, not for the sake of fathers, sitting at the top, like, ek is die baas van die plaas. No, but we're talking about fathers who know what it means to care and love, and men who know what it means to be positive, active, and present for the well-being of their children and our children, for the well-being of the women in our society, for our families and our communities. And I say thank you, Julie, to you and Salam Media for the amazing work you all are doing, and I hope that we can chat again.
Absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. A very meaningful conversation and something that we all should strive to work towards regarding this whole issue around absent fathers. But yes, I do look forward to connecting up with you in the future. That is you, Pastor Seth Naicker, Heartlines facilitator and leadership consultant. God bless. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Shukran. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
It is exactly 11:32. Let's go for our ad break, and then we'll be talking with Abed Karim from Al Imdad Foundation.